Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is August 12th, 2025, and Real Madrid have presented a complaint against La Liga's attempt to have the Barcelona versus Villarreal match played in the USA. Also, Barcelona are contemplating a plan B in case Joan Garcia cannot be registered in the place of Ter Stegen. And finally, Barcelona are closing in on 2 African signings. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. I will begin this video with the news that Real Madrid have presented a complaint against La Liga's attempt to have the Villarreal versus Barcelona match played in the USA. Now, as I announced in previous videos, the Royal Spanish Football Federation have approved La Liga's plan to have the Villarreal versus Barcelona match set to be played on December 20th to be played in Miami. And Real Madrid have presented a complaint to FIFA, UEFA, and the Spanish Higher Sports Council, or the CSD, claiming that this move affects the integrity of the competition, that there was no prior info or consultation with the rest of the clubs, and that this move breaches the principle of territorial reciprocity. In other words, having one match being played at home and one match being played away. Now, Real Madrid released an official statement. I'm not going to read the entire statement to you, but I will read the most important parts out of the statement, where it says the integrity of the competition requires that all matches be played under the same conditions for all teams. Unilaterally modifying the system breaks the equality between competitors, compromises the legitimacy of the results, and sets an unacceptable precedent that opens the door to exceptions based on interest unrelated to strictly sporting matters, with a clear impact on sporting integrity and the risk of adulterating the competition. Any modification of this nature must, in any case, have the express and unanimous agreement of all the clubs participating in the competition, in addition to strictly complying with the national and international rules governing the organization of official competition. So there you have it, folks. Real Madrid saying that this move could, adulterate the competition because it wouldn't be the same circumstances to all teams, because all teams play one match at home, then they play one match away. In this case, Villarreal will be playing both matches against Barcelona away, right? They would play at the Camp Nou or whichever stadium will be at, and then their home match, it will be played in Miami. So I kind of agree with Real Madrid. I never thought I would say those words, that I would agree with Real Madrid. But I do think it's pretty ironic that Real Madrid are talking about influencing the competition and, adulterating the competition. Real Madrid TV, hint, hint, which we're going to talk about in a few seconds. But nonetheless, I do agree, or I do see their point. Now, I don't know how much effect that could truly have on the competition to not, to have one away match. My biggest concern is the health of the players. We always complain about the calendar being so exhausting with so many matches for the players. Well, imagine adding to that, having to travel all the way to the U.S. and then have to travel back, plus the time zone difference, adapting, jet lag, etc., etc. That's my concern. I don't know about this whole playing one away match and how much it could affect the competition, but I do see their concern. Now, of course, I do want to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions. What do you think about this statement? Let me know down below in the comment section. Now, it seems that the captains of both teams, Barcelona and Villarreal, are also against this move, and so is the players' union. They're also against this move because it affects the rules or the agreement between the union and La Liga in regards to the rest, how many rest days the players can have. Now, speaking of Real Madrid and Real Madrid TV and the integrity of the competition, the Royal Spanish Football Federation have announced that the referees will no longer be announced several days before the match. Instead, they're going to be announced the day before. Now, previously, the referees for the weekend matches would be announced on Thursday. By Thursday, you always knew which ref was going to be reffing which match. This is now going to change, and the ref for each match will be announced the day before. Now, in the statement released by the Royal Spanish Football Federation, they're saying that they're doing this in order to avoid any pressure campaigns. Now, of course, who are they referring to? Well, they're referring to Real Madrid, because it's been Real Madrid for the last 2 seasons that every time the referee of their match is announced, They immediately use Real Madrid TV to publish videos saying that referee is always ruling against them, and they're the victims of bad refereeing. And of course, we've seen that campaign has worked, where La Liga referees have been absolutely terrified to rule against Real Madrid, and where Real Madrid have consistently been awarded, extremely controversial penalty kicks or red cards for the other team that are very controversial. So we've seen that campaign has worked. And in order to combat this, the Royal Spanish Football Federation will now announce the referee the day before, which I'm glad they're doing something about it. But I think this exposes a bigger problem, which is that the Royal Spanish Football Federation is absolutely terrified of doing anything to Real Madrid, because the real way of stopping this is not changing when you announce the referees, but it's to sanction Real Madrid. Send them a letter, say, hey, what you're doing is not right. If you do it again, we're going to sanction you. If they do it, sanction them. You do it again, sanction them. Keep sanctioning them until they stop. But instead, they do this wishy-washy resolutions or solutions, which is, it's not the way you do it. This is like the bully who on his way to school or way back from school gets bullied by the neighbor. And in order to avoid that, he decides to, climb the back of his, the wall in his backyard and goes all the way around the neighborhood to avoid the bully instead of just punching the bully right in the mouth so he can stop bullying him. I mean, this is exactly the same. So I'm glad they're doing something about it. But this, again, exposes the fact that the Royal Spanish Football Federation don't have the balls to do something to Real Madrid. Now, on to the next bit of news, because Barcelona are now contemplating a plan B for the registration of Joan Garcia. Now, as you know, Barcelona have presented the medical paperwork of Marc ter Stegen's injury to La Liga in hopes that La Liga will allow the club to register Joan Garcia in the place of the German goalkeeper. It was expected that we would hear an answer either today or tomorrow. Today we didn't hear any answer, so it's expected that tomorrow the medical committee will let Barcelona know whether whether Joan Garcia will be registered in the place of ter Stegen. Now, if the medical committee rules that ter Stegen will be out for 5 months, Barcelona will be able to use 80% of his salary. If the committee rules that ter Stegen will be out for 4 months, Barcelona can only use 50% of ter Stegen's salary. And if they rule that it's 3 months or less, then Joan Garcia will not be allowed to be registered in the place of ter Stegen. Now, in case this happens, in case the medical committee does not allow Barcelona to register Joan Garcia in the place of ter Stegen, Barcelona are now considering Plan B, which is for Joan Laporta and other board of directors to put personal guarantee from their own pocket. This is kind of like what happened in 2022 when Barcelona signed Jules Koundé. They couldn't register him. So Joan Laporta and Ferran Oliver, the treasurer at the time, put money out of their own pocket, 11 million euros as a guarantee. And then when Piqué retired in January of 2023, that guarantee was lifted. Now, on to the next bit of news, because Barcelona are now closing in on the signing of 2 African talents, both hailing from Mali and both hailing from the Africa Foot Academy. This is, of course, the academy where Ibrahim Diarra came from. It's an academy that Barcelona have an agreement with, where Barcelona invests into the academy, and in exchange they get a pick of the talented players that come out of this academy. And while the 2 players that Barcelona are set to sign are Aboubakar Maïja and Mustafa Traoré. Now, Aboubakar Maïja is described as a highly technical playmaking midfielder with very incredible skills. He's also described as creative with great vision and someone that can adapt to the defensive midfield position or the pivot position, which, as you know, under the scheme of Barcelona is a very, very important position. And the other player, Mustafa Traoré, is described as a quick winger who is strong in one-on-one dribbling and has very accurate crossing and has a very similar profile to Ibrahim Diarra, and his coaches have highlighted his potential for growth, and they say that the only thing he needs to improve on is his goal scoring. Now, what's the plan with these 2 players? The plan is for them to join Barcelona, the Barcelona youth team, on a trial basis for several months in order to adapt to European football. And if they do and they impress, then Barcelona would officially sign them once they turn 18 years old, because the 2 of them are under 18. So kind of like what happened with David Odro, or even Ibrahim Diarra, who also came as trial, and then we signed him once he turned 18 years old, because of course when you sign in from outside the European area, the player has to be 18 years old. Now, we will end today's video with the news that Jules Koundé is set to sign his contract renewal by the end of this week. Now, as I reported previously, Koundé and Barcelona have reached an agreement to extend the contract of the French defender from 2027 until 2030 with a salary raise. And it's reported that the contract is all but done, and the only thing missing is the signature. And they're saying that Koundé could sign that contract by the end of this week, which of course would be great because after all, Koundé has been an incredible signing. One of the best signings in the last, 5, maybe 10 years, because he has become one of the best right backs in all of Europe. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. We'll be uploading another video in a few moments, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, peace, Barca.